Okay, this is a video. We're going to talk about using this clay, which is a man-made clay. It's made by Crayola. It's called Model Magic. We're going to use this to create a spectrum of colors that will fit on our color wheel that we'll later use to make our foreground, middle ground, and background of our landscapes. You'll have the option between our rectangles here and our ovals here. The first thing you're going to want to do is you want to take out your primary colors, our red, our yellow, and our blue. Okay? Once you take out one color, you're going to want to split that into 3 even balls. You can do it by eye, but you want them to be even, or you can grab a pencil and draw a capital Y like this. And that's going to kind of give us an idea of a way to separate the clay into 3 separate sections. And you can kind of just do it by eye or use the pencil. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we know this is a primary color, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick that on one of our circles on our color wheel. That's where our primary colors go. And you have a little index right here that tells you that primary colors are circles. I'll take out my blue, and I'll do the same thing. I'm just gonna do it by eye. I'm going to separate it into 3 even balls. If you find that one is a little bit smaller than the other, you can just simply grab some from one that's larger and add it to the smaller one, and then we'll put it onto our circle. So now we have our 2 primary colors, and we'll do the same thing with our last color. And again, if you have trouble with making them even, you can always draw that capital Y. So now from these 3 primary colors, we're going to be able to mix all of these other secondary and tertiary colors. But we're going to start with the secondary. So our secondary colors go in these squares. We'll start with the red and the yellow. And that will give us our secondary color, orange. So you want to squeeze the Model Magic in between your fingers, kind of push on it. I use my thumb and my index finger on both hands. And you'll see that it's going to start to mix together to get that orange color that we want. I'm going to go ahead and roll that. I'm going to put that in my secondary color box. Now I want to make my violet, so I'm going to take my red and my blue, push them together. I can roll them or push them. Just want to kind of get them to mix. Now you might find that blue is overpowering your red. If that's true, you can just grab a little bit more of your red. But I think I like this violet. I'll roll that up. I'll put it in my secondary. And now my last secondary, I'm going to make my green. Mix that up. So now that I have my green pretty much mixed, put that down. Now in order to make our tertiary colors, which are in our triangles, we're going to have to separate these colors again into little balls. So our secondary colors are now going to become 3 separate balls, just like we did with our primaries. So I want 3 of each one. Last one. This one's a little bit too small, I think. So I'm going to add a little bit from this one. And one is going to stay in that box, but the other 2 are going to go here because they're going to mix with these secondary colors. So I'm going to then take this one, divide it into 3. Now these are getting a little bit smaller, but that's okay. So one stays here, one is going to be mixed with that one, and the other one goes on this side. Taking my violet, separate it into 3 colors. So we're seeing a pattern here. Take each one, roll it into 3 equal sized balls, and distribute it. One back where it came from, one on either side to be mixed. The primaries are getting little, but that's okay. one stays. One goes this way and one goes that way. Stays. One goes this way. One goes that way. One staying. That one's maybe a little too little. I'll add some more to that. And then they're gonna be separated that way. So now we wanna mix those tertiary colors that we combined earlier. So I'm gonna take these two, and that's gonna become my red violet. Again, I'm pushing it, pinching it, squeezing it. Roll it up, goes right there. Mix this guy. This is our blue violet. You can see it's a little bit more blue than our original color. Right there. Whoops. And our blue-green. Put that right here. And you keep going. You want to mix them all. And make sure you put them back where they belong on the color wheel so that you remember what color it is. This is our yellow-green. And it looks similar to our original green, but if you put it next to it, you'll see that it's much more yellow. Our yellow-orange. And if you notice, I'm saying the primary color first. When you're talking about tertiary colors, you use the primary color and then the secondary color. So this is yellow-orange as opposed to orange-yellow. And this would be red-orange as opposed to orange-red. Okay, now that we have our primary, 1, 2, 3, our secondary colors, which are in squares, 1, 2, 3, and then our tertiary colors that are in our triangles, we have all the colors we need to go on and make our landscape. So you're going to want to start with your backgrounds, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and choose this rectangle here. And maybe I want my background to be blue, like this beautiful landscape here. Now, I can always add my blue with my blue-green. When you stick it on, it's going to seem like it's not enough, but you're going to take your finger and you're going to push it out and spread it almost like butter. And it's going to give you a lot more surface area coverage than you thought it would to begin with. I'm going to now take some of my blue-green, add that in there, make sure I spread it out, get as much coverage as I can. And if you get movement in between the colors, that's okay. Sometimes it looks nice. The reason you want to do your background first is because things are overlapping each other. The foreground items have the most detail and they come the most forward towards us, so they're going to be at the end. So now we're going to go to our middle ground. Maybe I want to do a sun. So my sunset might have some yellow in it. And just push it around. Maybe I'm gonna have some purple hills going on over here. So I'll make kind of like a hill shape. Spread it. Get my red violet. The sun is shining on my mountains. And you're gonna keep going like this until your whole outlined rectangle or oval, depending upon which one you chose, is covered. Now, if you finish and you want to add some more detail, you're going to want to put that detail in the foreground because that's where you see the most of it. You can also take a contrasting color that means very different. So a color that's very different from what's around it, and you can do a coil like you might have done in clay, one of those snake-like things, and kind of outline your landscape and fill in those gaps. You want to kind of push it down so it stays. And if you're finished early, you can give your landscape a title. Fill in some of those gaps. Another tip, if you are looking to create a neutral color, so that would be something like a brown or a gray, all you would have to do is take a complementary color. So complementary is a fancy art word for colors that are across from each other on the color wheel. So orange is complementary to blue, right? And if we took those two and we mix them together, you're gonna see that we'll get kind of like a brownish or a grayish color. Let's see what we get. See, it's a nice gray. And you might want to use that maybe for like the clouds in your background, or the mountains if they were in your middle ground or your background. If you wanted to create like a brown, I would say go with your complements of purple and yellow. So I'm going to take a little bit, or violet, of my violet, a little bit of my yellow, and I'm going to mix those together, and that's going to give me a nice brown color. And you might want to use that for maybe some tree trunks in your foreground, or maybe there's a big boulder in your foreground that you want to make the center of attention in your landscape. I don't know. And that's going to give us a nice brown color. Looks a little violet. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. And you can play with your colors if it's not the right. So it gives us more of like a brown. So we have a gray and a brown, both made from our complementary colors.